Oh, hello there. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. My name's Eric, and I'm live streaming with all of my heart. Isn't that wonderful? I am live streaming with every bit of my heart, all of it. I'm giving everything I've got, and even then, a little bit more, just to make this live stream this special. What are we going to do on this stream? We're going to do so much stuff. Oh, it's going to be great. We are going to stand up for a little while. We might walk around outside. I might have a poop in me. We might work up towards that. I could do some cleaning up in the kitchen. Um, I think I might explore some topics. Did you know that? First of all, how am I always so right about everything? How is that? How is it the case? I've been saying since somebody brought it to my attention a while back that the asteroid Apophis does not has a much better than zero chance of hitting Earth. Good morning, Matarazzi Sound. Good morning, Winston's mom, and welcome, welcome to Talking with Famous People, where I will inform you. An article I read this morning indicated what I was saying since I first heard about it, that actually Apophis might very well hit Earth because it's going to pass within 20,000 miles, which is within the range of Earth made satellites. And then it might bump into one of them and crash into Earth. I said that months ago, okay, when I first heard about this and how everybody was saying it had a 0% chance of hitting the Earth. I was like, well, what if it hits into one of our satellites and it gets bumped into the Earth? Have they accounted for the gravitational pull being that close to the Earth? It might break it up. It might. I just refuse to believe that there was this 0% chance it was going to hit Earth. This morning, I read an article saying, actually, scientists now say there's a small chance it might hit a satellite that's orbiting Earth and crash into Earth. How am I so right all the time? I mean, how is it that I could see that obvious possibility and no scientist could until today? Why? Why is it like that? Nobody knows. Good morning, simple girl. Welcome. And yellow. Hello. I was noting to my wife Rachel the other day that if you're a sports team, your color's never yellow. It's always like something else. Like for example, USC is the cardinal in gold. They don't use yellow in their name. And and then the Michigan Wolverines are maize and blue. They don't use yellow. They use maize because yellow is considered a scared color. I may also win the lottery. Good morning, Eric. Well, you may win the lottery. That's true. But you'll note, no, they're purple and gold, I think, aren't they? Hey, what is one piece of advice you wish you could have given the younger you? I wish I would have told myself, be kind all the time and be attentive to other people's feelings and your own. Because later in life, if you've been mean to somebody or caused harm, it'll haunt you and you'll feel guilty about it. But that's the advice I give myself because of my personal attentional habits and stuff. It's not necessarily a good advice for anybody. And the thing is, William, yes, I agree. Still a smallish chance that it's going to hit the earth. A very small chance, really. But the point is, unlike the lottery, nobody was saying to you before you played the lottery that it was impossible for you to win it. Do you feel like you've been mean to people throughout your life? I feel like I haven't been kind enough, and or that I was just too rough and tumble. As I get older, I'm a softer person. I am more caring and concerned for everybody's well-being. And I realize how hard life is. I didn't used to understand how difficult it was for everybody. What to do when your family's being extremely toxic with you? You got to get away from that shit, you know? William has some small chance of winning the lottery. Okay. The point is, nobody's telling him he has a 0% chance of winning the lottery. Would it be offensive to have a shade of yellow named Asian yellow? Probably. So even teams that have yellow in their colors, they don't call it yellow. That's the point. We should make colors named Middle East brown, Indian brown too. No, I think we should have a color called flesh color, and it'd be kind of peachish, peachish pink, and say this is the color of skin. If your skin is not this color, you don't get to be drawn with crayons. Well, they just need to come to terms with the fact that when they're drawing themselves, they should draw their skin this color. Pinkish, peachish gray. Okay? The color of my scrotum. So your name's Piss. Have you ever asked your parents why they named you Piss? Was it aspirational? They wanted you to become good at peeing? Was it descriptive? Did you come out and immediately start peeing? What's on tap for today? I'm gonna do some chores here this morning, a couple little chores. Uh, but really, I don't have much of anything on tap for today. We need to go to the store. What episode of Skibidi Toilet am I on? 604. I religiously watch that. Um, right now, Rachel and I are in kind of a holding pattern. We sent out orders to divest some stocks and stuff, and we're waiting for that to go through so we get more money. Right now, I don't. I have like too little money in my account to feel comfortable doing anything because who knows what emergency might pop up, you know. So I'm just basically waiting for my daughter to finish up with that divestment process, which takes a little bit of time, and then to send me money. We need to go to the grocery store. We could go to the grocery store. Hello, scam speech. He does tax fraud. I don't do tax fraud. There's no money in tax fraud, okay? Let me tell you that. People seem to forget about their tax refunds and stuff. They've already paid that money to the government. I have no real cause to defraud the government with taxes because I'm not making money or earning money. All of my assets are in a trust. It is a good time to hunker down in life and save. So, Piss, I don't know if you know anything about living trusts, but they're a very good way to avoid taxes you know, legally slash acceptably. No, I don't want to join any terrorist groups. I think you have I think you have the wrong idea about me. Yeah, if you're not earning wages, the only taxes I pay really are capital gains taxes. I'm smoking pot. Yes, marijuana as it's called sometimes. I grew it myself, but I wouldn't call it quite organic because I did use some fertilizer like for tomatoes. Sure, I'll give you one. Don't forget the ill-gotten gains. I am still around. How come I haven't subscribed to you, Wanny Thomas? I don't know. Maybe you don't make good enough videos. When did I shower last time? Yesterday. And the reason I showered yesterday was because I wanted to have sexual intercourse. Yeah, horse and cow poo would be great fertilizer, but there's this jug of tomato fertilizing pellets that came with the house that I've been putting onto the plants. They're looking fantastic. I could harvest the cherry pie. You could harvest it anytime. I've been harvesting some of this what I'm smoking on, but got 4 different strains out there. 2 instances of what I think is Jack Herrera. I didn't label like I didn't put a little thing with each seed saying what it was. So I'm just having to guess by looking at them now which one's which. One of them, I planted actually 5 different strains. One of them didn't come up. No, Kara, I did not. I was not a puss slayer, as you might call it. So I'm a beta male. Okay. Yeah, it's getting to be harvest season. Piss says I grew a lot of opium poppies one time and made some good money. Never grown opium, never grown really anything except marijuana. I was not alpha though. I mean, like in the last time I broke up with somebody who was looking for a new woman, I had a lot of dating capital at that point, primarily from just being a YouTuber, and I ended up marrying this woman who was a regular participant in the channel, on the live streams, commented on my videos and stuff. No, my ex-wives get no alimony. They never got any alimony. They didn't deserve it. So why would they get it? If it had been my fault, then that would be another story. I never paid anything to my divorces didn't cost me anything. I just got rid of a problem. Problem wives 1 and 2 had to go. And that was just how it was, you know. So they're gone. Now I have good wife. Good wife is wonderful. Problem wives were problems. So that's the difference between having a good wife and a problem wife. Rachel, my good wife, is asleep upstairs. She doesn't do things like complain all the time or try to change me all the time like Candace did or cheat on me like my first wife did. So Bruce says Sigma, his hairline was scared of him and disappeared. I am the Sigma Giga Chad, okay? And why? It's because I always pay my phantom tax and wash my Skibbity toilet. Let's go look at the plants, shall we? I've actually already come out and looked at them once this morning. It's nice and chilly out today. It's getting to be fall up here in the mountains. It'll still get into the 80s today, I'm sure, but it's a lot cooler than it has been at night. And the plants are recognizing, like, oh shit, it's getting late in the year. We better hurry up and finish budding. There, nice and tall. I lost the only brain cells I had left from abusive diazepam. From abusing diazepam. Rachel married me because I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. That is a good reason to marry me. But I think she married me because she loves me with her heart. Isn't that romantic? It is the case that abusing benzos is a problem. You probably don't want to abuse benzos too much. They're an amnesiac, you know. So far, so good. That's so sex. I am so sex. You're right. How did I have so much patience? Why the hell does my wife sleep in the daytime? First of all, it's 7:15 in the morning. I would hardly call this daytime. Second of all, my wife sleeps whenever the fuck she wants because she's a smart person and she does what she wants instead of what you want her to do. If she were an idiot, she'd listen to you. Patience, I don't have any patience for things that don't deserve patience. I've got some patience for things that do deserve patience. Like I've got limited patience for you, DD. Why? Because you're pointlessly, sanctimoniously, and wrongly critiquing my wife. Hi, Goulian. How you doing? Have you ever heard of the Southern Lights? Me neither. But I have heard of Northern Lights. Are there any wild animals nearby? Yes. There are bears and deers, raccoons, skunks. This Northern Lights is pretty ready to be harvested, really. It is always 420 somewhere. It's like, so this one is called Jack Herrera. It's a late butter. It's not going to be done until early October. This one is called Gorilla Glue number 4. I believe. This is what I think they are. I remember that I did not label them when I planted them. Oh, that doesn't require patience. It's just what I do. It's like my hobby, you know? If I were trying to attain a goal, you'd be right. This one is called Cherry Pie, I think. It's ready to be harvested for sure. It's super super crystally. Looking yummy, huh? I live in Mariposa. So, Mariposa, California. It's a wonderful place. So, I'll be doing some harvesting this weekend. Look at the gully. How are we doing down here in the gully? Doing fine. See, Rachel's drying some clothes here. She got, looks like a pair of jeans and a black dress of some kind. Those ones must not go in the, I'm not sure how YouTube feels about me showing that or not. Because I'm a little unsure about it, even though it's totally legal where I am. I know they say explicitly that you can't like show the inside of a dispensary. It doesn't say anything about plants you're growing, but I try to err on the side of caution and not spend too much time showing them or also try not to show myself pulling bong rips on camera. It's not because I'll get a strike. It's because, which is the thing you have to really worry about. But I will get age restricted sometimes, and I think YouTube kind of shadow bans me a little bit sometimes because they think I'm a little too edgy or something. But I don't know. It's hard. Who knows with YouTube, right? What is the most important thing you need to grow? That's very straightforward. You don't need to do shit. You just need to put it in the ground and just water it all the time. How would you rate myself in terms of intellectual capacity relative to women in my demographic? I'd rate myself in terms of intellectual capacity relative to women in my demographic the same as I'd rate myself in terms of intellectual capacity to any other demographic, which is vastly superior in any given instance, almost for sure. I played the lottery and then won. Bearded cracker. William says I played the lottery and won and then got hit by an asteroid. Well, as long as it's a small enough asteroid, then you're fine. Which seeds are good? Sometimes I see white ones, sometimes black strong ones. Different strains have seeds that look differently. So it depends. You just plant whatever seed, and if it comes up, then you're fine. And if it doesn't come up, then you're not going to get anything, obviously. Do I think YouTube community guidelines are very strict and suppress freedom of speech? I think they're on the stricter side. They certainly have continually gotten stricter. And I don't necessarily object to that. It's like YouTube saying they want to be equivalent to TV in terms of their willingness to allow edgy stuff. They recognize that people can be triggered in very unpleasant ways by certain kinds of content that they don't want to see. You don't want to have some like video of a surgery being performed suddenly pop up in your feed and gross you out, for a simple enough example. And there's a lot of other things that YouTube wants to preserve a certain kind of pleasant experience for all the people watching it, and accordingly they try to kind of weed out things that aren't what they want to be on one of a variety of criteria. Yeah, it used to be crazy. How do you sex your plants so you have only females? Well, what you could do is just grow multiple plants, and as soon as you see because the male plants are the ones that actually have the flowers on them, they have little white flowers. You'll see when a male plant comes in that it gets little balls, two little balls, just like human men do, right? It gets two little balls that, okay, well, I don't want to hear about it even, Piss. That's horrible. That's just horrible, right? Nobody wants to encounter that kind of content. unless they're really seeking it out, And no, we're not talking about two different kinds of plants. Marijuana plants, they actually get two little balls come down as they start to go into the budding period, but they're not budding. Those little balls become two white flowers. And so as soon as you see the little balls, you can just kill that plant. Or you could do what I did, which is I bought feminized seeds. And so feminized seeds are seeds that they already know are going to produce female plants. I think the way they get feminized seeds is you get feminized seeds from a hermaphrodite. Some plants are both male and female. They grow buds, but they also grow flowers. If I mean, how could it possibly be funny? It's horrible. It's just horrible. Hi, your fave Molly. I'm doing fine. How are you? The reason I'm pausing Satire State is because I'm reading the chat, and there's a fair amount of chat going on today, right? It's a pretty steady patter of comments and stuff. Each of those times that somebody puts a new chat up, I read it. It causes me to pause to read it, and then if while I'm responding to one thing, somebody else puts up a chat, that will distract me usually, and that'll cause a pause. It's actually you point out something that does kind of bother me um, about my live streams when I'm watching them myself, which I generally don't, which is that there is a failure to complete a given thought because a new chat comes up and distracts me. That happens fairly often. It has absolutely nothing to do with me smoking weed. I'm the same as I always was. But I do get that that's what your desire is to provoke me about is to be sanctimonious about something that you you think that it's gonna annoy me or something. I'm much too experienced a YouTuber to be baited like that, but I will respond to what you say. And what you say is bullshit. When I was 13, I used to watch gore until I got a panic attack. That's when my therapist at the time put me on diazepam. Well, I you can have that habit, but I'd rather not hear about it. Satire State says, not trying to provoke you, brother. You can improve your communication abilities through practice. I promise. Yeah, you are trying to provoke me, and I don't need to improve my communication abilities. I communicate extremely well, vastly more successfully than most anybody else I ever encounter. I am actually a professional debate coach by trade and spent decades doing extremely well in that capacity, prior to which I was a debater myself in high school. I was also a speech coach, and I coached people to national championships in both speech and debate over the course of many years. Do I miss my adulthood? I mean, I feel like I'm an adult for the first time, really. So when they're about 4 to 6 inches tall, any with balls at the Y from the main trunk to a branch are males, right? I coached everything from fifth grade to high school. Well, I'm glad you don't watch it anymore, because I feel like I'm very successful right now. I feel like I'm living a good life. Where would you like to see me coach myself to be different, and why? And why do you care? If you're just being satirical, you're not exercising satire per se. You're just being provocative, right? Satire requires some deftness, some artistry. Am I a millionaire? I guess. But that doesn't mean much these days. Bearded Cracker suggests that another way to critique what Satire State is doing is to simply say, you're just being a cunt. And I don't disagree with Bearded Cracker. I think that he makes a good point. Satire State, you are, in fact, just being a cunt. So, Bearded Cracker makes a very cogent point there. I think we should all afford it our affirmation and applause. Yeah, $1 million is not very much money these days, unfortunately. Satire State's channel says they enjoy making music videos on YouTube. Well, good for you, Satire State. I have some music videos as well on my channel. If I had $50 million, I'd feel fine. True. I smoke hash and I know things. It's kind of my job. I'm glad you smoke hash. I'm glad you know things. And good for you for having that job. So, you know, I just need to find $50 million somewhere. I'll be fine. That'll be wonderful. Shall we go on an outside walk again before we do a few chores? I do plan to do the dishes, etc. this morning. One of the chores I plan to do. Have I tried looking under the couch? What am I looking for? What do you think might be under the couch? What do you think is more important in life, money or good relationships? Well, I mean, a base level of money is necessary. Now I find myself looking under the couch. Why? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll find something there. It would be cool to find Adderall under the couch. That would make me happy. But I don't see any. I doubt there's any Adderall under the couch. But I'm still going to follow this random person's advice. Oh, looking for $50 million under the couch. Yeah, I'm quite sure there's not $50 million under the couch. In theory, there could be a dropped Adderall under the couch, which is worth about $50 million. But there's not. There's not any Adderall under the couch. I just have to wait till Monday when I get my prescription refilled. I'm gonna get a refill on my coffee here. I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 1 minute. I'm in California, Bearded Cracker. These are my favorite kind of salts. Yeah, mixed amphetamine salts. That's really the best kind of salts there is. I live in Mariposa, California. I didn't watch the debate. It was worth the look and I was finding buds. Yeah. Well, I got plenty of weed, so I'm not really worried about finding floor weed. It's moments like this when I wish I still smoked cigarettes. I mean, I wish that all the time, actually. But I don't still smoke cigarettes. I quit them some time back. Got these dumbass nicotine vapes, which are as poor a substitute. Sorry to hear that, bearded cracker. But that's okay. I'm already like my mind is fully into and accepting of the idea that I get it on Monday, which is not that far away, you know. I'll get 30 milligrams is. So that's 1,800 milligrams, which is basically a teener. If we were measuring out amphetamines on the street, that would be a teener. Half an 8-ball. More or less. That's not bad. Half an 8-ball. Well, I mean, obviously I haven't restarted smoking yet. I quit April 27th. It is now September 12th, I think. So it's hard to be like, oh, Eric, you shouldn't romanticize smoking. I'm not romanticizing it at all. I'm just being honest about it. You know, vapes are a totally inadequate substitute. It's just slightly better than nothing at all. But I just could feel my lungs getting too cashed, so I said, that's it, cigarettes. It's either you or weed has to go. And weed doesn't seem to cash my lungs as much, so see you later, cigarettes. That's what I said. And now they're gone forever. No, I didn't start smoking again, Dee. I haven't had a single cigarette since I quit on April 27th. I just don't. I'm just not like super happy about it, right? Because it's different than quitting something like alcohol. When I quit drinking alcohol, what I did was remove from my life something that was destroying me, destroying my life, making me miserable. Cigarettes, on the other hand, where it's not doing anything like that at all, right? It wasn't destroying my life, wasn't making me make bad decisions. It's not an intoxicant. What it was doing was cashing my lungs. And I didn't want to get COPD. And I wanted to have, not be so easily short of breath and stuff. And I just felt like, you know, you can only, it's a young man's game. You can only do it for so long before the health harms of it outweigh the benefits. Well, good for you, John Rice. Depends on the individual. I couldn't handle drinking alcohol, so I had to quit. Some other people can handle it. I could also roll plenty of joints in a short period of time if I were so inclined. I used to roll joints while driving. Just steer with my knees. So I know very, very well about rolling joints. Free Israel, huh? Random stranger says, I have COPD. I'm almost 60 and I never touched a drop of booze. And then he removes both messages. Retracts them, I should say. Jerry West. Are you the same Jerry West who's dead? Okay. I actually don't currently have you enslaved, but if I ever find that I do have your people enslaved, I will let your people go. Okay. I'll lead them from Egypt through the Red Sea to freedom. I promise. If I ever end up enslaving them, I will do that. Well, they say that vaping is 95% healthier than smoking. How they come up with that number, I don't know. But that's what they say. You're welcome, sport, Jerry West. And you know what? I want to encourage you to keep making me proud, Tiger. DD had quit drinking alcohol. He says that I used to drink alcohol, but since last year I was getting furious after drinking it and got involved in fights. I decided not to drink alcohol. You will notice that what's his name? Satire State has just disappeared. Okay, well, in that case, they are wrong, William. I don't like getting shots. All right, so what are we going to do this morning? I took a Prozac. I decided to take Prozac for a few days. I just smoke marijuana. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. They do tend to be wrong about a lot. You're not wrong about that, William. They are about as trustworthy as AI. Like I was asking AI to find me pictures of these various strains of weeds in their growth, in their budding cycle, not after they've been harvested and manicured and dried. Yeah, I've done most of them. Take cash. I've done most of them, but not everything. I've never injected anything. Prepare a pizza for myself? I could. I kind of think I want to walk around the house some more until I jostle loose this poop I have inside of me. I can feel it in there, like wanting to come, wanting to, my water wants to break on this one. This poop is past its due date, And it may be coming out breech, but it still needs to come out. Alcohol does do that for some people. It causes problems. For alcoholics, it's nothing but a problem, regardless of how much it alters their personality. There are some people who may be quite pleasant, but who still drink way too much, and it's not good for their ontology, I guess you could say. Regardless, I'm not here to judge what other people do. There are other people who can drink just fine and not have any problem. Backsplash area cleared. What's the backsplash area? It's nice out this morning. I wonder if, in fact, Prozac is doing something to me. I just took the third time I've taken it. Took it a few days ago. Took it yesterday. Now I took it this morning. What drugs have I done? A lot of them. I mean, I've never done PCP. I've never injected anything. I mean, I'm sure there are new designer drugs that I've never done, but I've tried most everything else. From Spokane, Washington, to methamphetamines, to LSD, mushrooms, ketamine, DMT, MDMA, salvia, different benzos, Valium, Klonopin. I'm prescribed Adderall. I'm on Prozac today for some reason. I just think, well, maybe it'll make me feel a little flattened out, a little less anxious. I tend to get a little bit anxious sometimes. Sometimes I have dark thoughts too. It's usually in dopamine valley when I'm giggity meow. Well, Dick Cash. I also used to smoke a lot of meth, but I never got into coke. Coke seems to have more lasting damage on people than meth does, necessarily, or at least on me. I don't feel too terribly damaged by my. Granted, it's been a number of years, but by my years of meth addiction. Oh, this Northern Lights is just calling my name. I've tried it, I already harvested a sample of it, but this stuff here is, it's ready, looking juicy, and it's like, one of my favorite all-time strains. So that's something to look forward to in the next couple of days. I know they say it takes a while to build up in your system, Simple Girl, but I know from experience that that's not really true. When Rachel was when Dr. Ingram was working on trying to find the right combination of drugs for Rachel to treat her bipolar mania, things were. She was not being properly treated until he added Prozac into the mix, and as soon as she took it, within like 1 hour, it was like a light switch. She went from mentally ill to perfectly sane. It was crazy. So they say that, but it's not necessarily the case that it takes a long time to do something. I am pretty good about accounting for placebo effects, and I could tell the first day I took it that it was flattening me out a little bit. So, it does probably take some time for the reuptake inhibition to pull up serotonin or whatever, but it works on you sooner than a week's, like they say. It does last for a long ass time. Rachel got serotonin syndrome from smoking DMT while being on Prozac, and the serotonin syndrome, even though she stopped taking the Prozac at that point, because as a way of dealing with the serotonin syndrome, her serotonin syndrome lasted like 3 weeks. Normally, a person gets it, it lasts like 2 days. So, Prozac's a weird drug. I remember I took one of them, this was, I don't know, months ago, I took one of them, and then I took mushrooms, and it definitely impacted the mushroom trip. It was a really strange mushroom trip, like wasn't fully activated or something, because the SSRI interferes with that. You did the opposite. You went from perfectly fine to mentally ill. Well, try to go back to perfectly fine. I'm not professor or anything. I'm just regular Eric. The most regular guy on the internet. That's what I should have my tagline be. I'm the most regular guy on the internet. Hi, Rahul reader. How are you doing? I hope you're doing fine. I'm not going to be streaming for a super long time today. Because why? I'll tell you why. Because I don't have any what? It rhymes with schmatterall. I am fine. I'm fine, Rahul reader. I wouldn't say I'm fantastic, but I am fine. I certainly am not unfine. You scoundrel. Oh, you scoundrelly scoundrel. There. All right, now I'll turn the lights on. Okay, we have to watch the caddy. Let's go fulfill our duty to the cat. Sir smokes a lot of the round table. That's me? I do smoke a lot of weed while I'm streaming. It's like a strong association that I have. Go ahead, eat your food. Go ahead and eat. Yes, you're a good boy. You're watching for English learning? Well, learn this. The cat is eating his food. Look at the cat eat. Watch him eat his food. He enjoys his food. My name is Eric. Would you like to go to the library with me? How's that for English language learning? I can't take any of those medications. It plays with my mind. I'm quite sure it's definitely in my head. I can't smoke weed anymore, and I used to. Yeah, well, I went through a period of time after my dad's death where I couldn't smoke weed either. I got panic attacks. But I recovered from that period of time. Now I can smoke weed just fine. Oh, it doesn't really look like there's even any dishes here. It looks like Rachel cleaned up last night. That's nice of her. William says I'm not the most regular guy on the internet. Well, my point is that I am, though. That's my point right now. It might be wrong, but it is my point. I'm changing the cat's water right now. Here's a nice clean new water. We threw out that dumb cat fountain. I'm very glad we did. It made a lot of noise, it made a mess, it got gross, and then we had to clean it. It was hard to clean. This is just much easier to do it like this. Oh, you're watching from Japan? Well, welcome. How exciting. Ohayo, moshi moshi. Arigato gozaimasu. So desu ka. Wakata, wakarimashita. Atakimasu. I watch a lot of anime. I love your cartoons so much. I love your cartoons so much that when I watch cartoons on Netflix that aren't in Japanese, I make the audio Japanese and put American subtitles under it. That's how much I like anime. I have watched every good anime there is, many of them more than once. Like this morning, the reason I'm live streaming now is in part because Failure Frame doesn't come out until what time? Until 11 a.m. Why so late, Failure Frame? Failure Frame, I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells is the full title of this wonderful cartoon. So, you know, I'm a real Japaneseophile, as they say. Well, I guess you might call me a weeb, but I call myself an otaku. I'm no weeb, okay? Weebs are for white people. I'm an otaku. Yes, I am. Zane. Do you know what zane means, everybody? It means too bad. That's what it means. Too bad. How do you know that? How do you know it means too bad? Because I was reincarnated as a vending machine, and now I wander the dungeon. An excellent show. Strashimasu. What does strashimasu mean? It means excuse me. Really what it means is strashimasu. Really what it means is I'm coming in now. I'm coming into the room now. I've knocked and I'm coming into the room now. Hey, I'll appropriate whatever fucking culture I want to. All right? That's my privilege. That's part of my white privilege. I can appropriate whatever culture I want. Strashimasu. Zannen. What anime do I like? What anime don't I like? My favorite is probably I was reincarnated as a slime. That one's fantastic. Of course, that one's still currently going on, so it's in my mind. But I really liked last season. I liked Free Ren Journey's End a lot. That was fantastic. Um, Also, the spider. I was reincarnated as a spider. I liked that a lot. And I mean, obviously the big ones. I love Overlord and um, uh, what's it called? You know, the most famous one of all, Attack on Titan. That's fantastic. I don't have a divorcee wife, Rahul Reader. Okay, my wife has only been married one time. She's married to me. It's her first marriage. Granted, it's not my first marriage. It's my third marriage. That's because I'm not as smart as my wife. She's wiser than I. Thanks, Hope. I'm as handsome as Burt Reynolds, long known as the handsomest man in the world. Simple Girl, when you were younger, did you have a crush on Burt Reynolds? He has a hairy chest, you know. Okay, sorry, Raoul Reader. God. Simple Girl's not divorced. Her husband's dead. She's a widow. Okay? God, Rahul Reader. Have a little respect for people who are widows instead of divorcees. Divorcees. Oh, you're talking to G. Never mind. Getting divorced and having your spouse die are different things. You don't like hairy men, so you're not a fan of Tom Selleck either. In my opinion, every woman should have a crush on one of two people, either Burt Reynolds or Tom Selleck. Why? Because they've got manly hair chests. Nowadays, if you're a younger lady, who's the man you're going to have a crush on? Is it Benedict Cumberbatch? Is it Ryan Reynolds? I watched quite a terrible movie with Ryan Reynolds and Denzel Washington in it last night. Sam Elliott, when he played a cowboy in Desperado. That's an interesting choice. She's a great character, Fit KO. You like Attack on Titan too? Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I have a list actually of my. I have a document of my top animes that I made prior to this season. It's it's reasonably up to date. This is top anime of the 2020s. So I will put it up on the screen so you can see it. And I don't know. It's a little influenced by when I made it. I might rank these a little differently if I were to do it again now. But top anime of the 2020s. Now, of course, I've also watched like all of Naruto Shippuden and Naruto. I've watched all of that. All the million episodes of it. Which one don't I like? I don't like One Piece. I don't like One Piece. I'm sorry. I just don't like One Piece, you know? Everybody's like, oh, One Piece, One Piece. But I don't like it that much. But I like all of these wonderful cartoons here. These are all great. Oh, Tsukamichi Moonlit Fantasy is so good. Shangri-La Frontier, very good. I love campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill. His absurd skill is he has online grocery, which is just fantastic. Reborn of the Vending Machine you see is up there. I like that one a lot. These ones don't qualify because of the date they started too early. My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, Slime, Overlord, Fire Force, World Trigger is another one that should be on that list. Why haven't they made a new season of World Trigger and why haven't they made a new season of Fire Force? Those two cartoons both definitely deserve new seasons. Where is the new season of World Trigger? Where is the new season of Fire Force? You don't like One Piece either? Thank you, PKO. Arigato hasayamasu. You are correct to not like it. It's just not a good cartoon. Kevin Costner is a sexy man in Yellowstone. Do you think he's sexy in Dances with Wolves as well? I think Camel is going to win. I think Harris is going to win. I don't care a great deal which one. I don't want either of them at all. I hate them both a lot. But hello, my sexy wife, Rachel. You're here just in time for Junior of Chicago to tell me that I'm a handsome man and give me hugs. The Electric Light Orchestra has nothing to do with this, okay? Let's just keep them out of the conversation. Vincent Hutchinson. Rachel has come. Yes. Why do some men hit on you here? I don't know. It's the internet. That's what happens, I guess. It wouldn't matter. It's like, look at me. In no way am I objectively sexy or whatever. I'm this haphazard looking old man with terrible teeth. Electric Light Orchestra? Oh no. I'm being defeated by the Electric Light Orchestra as Vincent Hutchison disobeys me. I don't think that's the case, G. I do. I did watch all of and enjoy JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It is very strange, you know. It's a very strange cartoon. But I have a strong recency bias. I like the newer ones better. With the current season of Crunchyroll being an exception. The current season of Crunchyroll is terrible. It's the worst season I have ever seen. But I'm assuming the fall season will be good. I mean, she wants them to go up, Simple Girl, but there's, she's running for president. She's not the legislature. So, gee, you just shut up. You don't even know anything. You don't know anything about cartoons at all. Okay. I'll just say this to you, Wakata, and you just say Wakarimashita. All right, because I am your sensei or your senpai, and you are my subordinate. So I'll call you G-Son, and you call me Eric Domo. All right. You're just G-Son. In fact, you're not even G-Son. You're G-Kun, or maybe G-Chan. And I am Eric Domo, or perhaps even Eric Sama. Yeah, I mean, obviously I hate the socialist bullshit as much as anybody does. I just don't overestimate the power of the president to generate the legislation that they want, you know. I think Kamala will be more or less hamstrung by an uncooperative legislature. There's also the courts, which are not necessarily going to be friendly to some of her overreaching notions, depending on what they may be. But I think your concern that taxes will go up under her is very well founded. And I think that young people, they're not even really socialist, they just don't understand money. Gee, don't tell me what I need to do. I'm not voting for either of those two fucks. You know, it's like in no instance does attempt to, I mean, like, anybody who thinks the federal government needs more tax revenue is completely fucking retarded. They have trillions of dollars already. But the problem is they don't have enough money. Are you serious? Yeah, I get it, G. I get your position on it. Yeah, that Prince song should have been "Young People Don't Understand." New Americans, let here press 2 for American Spanish. Hay demasiado chupacabras en este pueblo. Oceana. Mira, mira, mira aquí. Demasiado chupacabras. Quiero una tortilla. Eric, I'll tell you what you have to do is stay home that day and do bong rips. Okay, I could probably do that. People always want to talk politics. I'm disillusioned. It just makes me sad/mad. Masad. It makes me masad. So I'm just like, fuck that noise. Tony Hawk's Scandinavian Wasteland says, hey, Eric, I just made my way from San Diego back to my hometown and I miss dispensaries. I'm currently laying 150 for a half ounce. That's not that bad. I mean, it's not good, but have you considered growing your own? They're easy to grow. It's like the easiest plant in the world to grow. You just dig a hole, put it in the ground, and water it. It's kind of hard to grow in pots because it's too big. It wants to get too big for pots. You're in the sprout stage of some Royal Queen genetics. Well, I'm in the harvest stage of Northern Lights and cherry pie. This is my guess. Unfortunately I didn't label them when I planted them, which was which. So yeah, I mean, the Northern Lights is ready to harvest, and so is the cherry pie. They're both like all the way done. Hence weed, right? It's like one of the easiest things in the world to grow. People do all these complicated things to grow it and have problems because they're messing with it too much. Take a guess on the terps. I got no idea. I'm assuming it must test high, right, or something. But anyway, uh, well, I mean, I did an earlier harvest already on the cherry pie, which was definitely the quickest to mature. I have it right here. Smells wonderful. And, it looks a little homegrowny, which is to say, it's not as manicured as weed from the store would be. But it smokes really good. It's stony too. And I have tried, I mean, it's way better because the most important factor in weed is actually freshness. It's got to be the exact right point of freshness. Then it's at its best. Problem with store weeds is that they're not as fresh. They're quite old. They've first, had to wait for that harvest to get tested at some testing facility, and then have to package it and ship it out, and it sits on the shelf and stuff like that. When it's the right amount of freshness, that's when it's at its best. And most any kind of strain, if you get it at peak freshness, is going to be pretty good. There are obviously going to be some that are more headachy and and whatever. Thanks, Francesca Galfrey, who says that I look like a nice man. I try to be a nice man. Yeah, and who knows what chemicals are spraying on them, too. There's that. But this cherry pie is doing just fine. I've got a schedule here for harvesting the plants. My plan is to harvest all the cherry pie this weekend, and then we'll see. I mean, I could harvest the northern lights too. It's ready. The Gorilla Glue needs another week or two. The Jack will harvest when Cameron comes to visit in October. And that's what we have the most of. Now, it does matter how attentive you are to that dig a hole and water it part. Um, so when I planted them all, I put varying degrees of care into prepping the hole into which they were planted. The one at the end is I dug the biggest hole and filled it up with steer manure and as a steer manure blend as like a potting soil. And so it has the most well prepared situation with the most nutrients at the beginning and stuff. It's by far the biggest plant. So it does make a difference, like how much you prep it out. Next year, I plan to prep it out a little better than I did this year for all of them, and I also plan to get some additional strains. I planted 5 strains, but only 4 came up. 4 different strains came up this year. I'm going to get another 5 different strains for next year, and I'm going to plant 10 different strains. So I'm excited for that. Yes, I water every day. Hi, Caroline. Long time no see. Nice to see you. I do water them every day. I may have skipped a day here or there if they seemed like they were still damp, but yeah, William, I bet you would. Fortunately, I live in a very remote location, so um, I don't worry too much about that. Even if somebody were to want to come try to steal it, it'd be unlikely they'd be within easy distance of getting here. I may even just start harvesting the cherry pie right now. There's no there's no good reason to wait any longer than this. It's ripe as it's gonna get. Let's get a branch and bring it in and do a little trimming. Caroline made it to Grand Junction. It's the spot that sits right between the Grand Canyon and the Grand Tetons. That's why they call it the Grand Junction. All right. Let's select a branch of the cherry pie to harvest. Do this branch right here. This branch. All right. We'll do a little manicuring here outside before we return to the inside. I don't have my glasses on, fortunately. You want to cut off all these little leaves is the thing. You know? I mean, it's just for yourself, for me, so, and Rachel, obviously, but, so it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be all perfectly manicured, but it's still better to get as many of these leaves off as possible. So before I proceed with this, I need my glasses. I'm just standing here lying to myself, pretending that I can do this without my glasses on. Look at it in the sunshine. Smells delicious. I like it when I got stuff drying in the tech closet. It makes the whole downstairs smell like weed. How did I miss Jordan Peterson being an ENFJ? I mean, I don't think I really did miss that. I've suggested that he's most likely ENTJ. I've pointed out that I've not typed him, so it's not possible for me to know exactly what type he is. And that the one thing that seems that one could feel most confident about is that he's SI polar. I don't think you're thinking very carefully before you speak. I mean, I've talked with somebody who made good arguments in favor of the notion that he's ENFJ and not ENTJ before. I found her arguments rather convincing, even. But obviously, none of us can know what type anybody is without actually typing them. So when we afford our own intuition about things too much credit, we're engaging in typology wrong. We need to remember that when we make claims, we want to make limited claims and qualified claims so that we avoid being wrong or avoid having low ambiguity tolerance. For lots of things, we have to deal with ambiguity. For some celebrities type, for example, that's clearly a place where we have to accept ambiguity and have a good amount of ambiguity tolerance, because obviously we don't get a chance to actually type them. If we think that we don't need to actually type somebody to know what type they are, then we're engaged in a foolhardy misapprehension. So, manicuring this, I only have so much patience for getting the leaf out by the root, which is preferable. When I run out of patience for such, then I just start giving it a haircut. That's a lot easier, but not as good a way to manicure. Like I said, this is just for my head anyway, so it doesn't matter to me if it's all perfectly manicured. And yet I still tend to be a little OCD about it. Yeah, I agree, money. Typology is a nightmare. It's a nightmare to talk about because people don't mean the same things when they use the same words as other people, And most importantly, people have their own relationship to it with as part of their sort of ontological self-concept stuff that comes before treating it as some kind of effective tool. If people come into typology and everyone's like, it's my tool that I use this way, rather than it's an explanation of human consciousness, then obviously it's going to be just a quagmire of butt fuckery everywhere you look. And I think that's really the best way to put it. It's a quagmire of butt fuckery. Of course, everybody want to roll up in here and explain to me about typology. Even though ain't nobody qualified to do so. That's all right. I've kind of given up hope on the whole thing, frankly. Well, this is getting reasonably well manicured at this point. Gotta get these bad boys here. And of course, one of the problems with manicuring is your scissors get all resined up, and then all the leaves stick to the scissors. So you gotta throw them off like that, into the trash can. Well, this seems pretty good. Got a couple right here I need to get. Right there. There, and there, and there, and there, bad boys. That one. I mean, I don't mind also a slow harvest, right? It's very difficult for weed to get overripe. So you can just let it go for more or less indefinitely until it gets too cold or whatever. But they say it's like it does have a strongest point and then it kind of mellows from that point after. But I don't think it probably changes much. What if I sprayed the scissors with Pam or something? Well, there is objectivity, but it's a way of paying attention rather than something implicit in the object, right? One is being objective if one's calculating deliberatively with a disinterested, from a disinterested perspective, then one's being objective about things. But yeah, there's a problem that people have in thinking that the objectivity is outside of the observer rather than part of their process. All right, so where does this go to dry? Well, you don't need to hurry the drying process, okay? Hurrying the drying process just makes it not quite as good. This has a thick stem, as you see, so it's going to be hard to find a place, but I try to put it in a hole in this wicker thing to dry out. This one with the thick stem, let me move this. I'll move this here. Okay. I'll put it right back here. There. There. And I can just sit here for a few days. It takes about 3 days for it to fully dry. So once it does, it can go well, I mean, lots of different things can feel objective, money. I think that people who are TI tool users believe themselves to be objective in their calculations and probably feel as though it is objective, even though any meaningful distinction of the word made by the word would say it's not. The thing to remember is that we use the word objective in a couple of different ways. People use it to describe a person's deliberative frame. In other words, am I being like a referee in a game who doesn't care who wins and who just wants to call the game accurately? Or am I being like a fan watching on the side who thinks every call should go my team's way, you know? When I'm watching the Athletics play baseball, every time the play is close at first and the Athletics player is the one running, I say, safe! Every time it's close at first and it's the other team running, I say, he's out! Because I'm not being objective, right? I'm just wanting my team to get the good things and the other team to get the bad things. Okay, let's get another branchy poo here. Let's go for all right, this seems a good choice. I'm going to go for this low branch here. Now this, I'll have to segment off a couple of these branches. Like this will have to be its own branch, and this its own branch, and this its own branch. These two could be on one thing. And this little loner down here near the bottom, I'll probably just pluck that off and just set it on the table next to me and let it just dry on its own. All right, let's take a look at it in the sunshine. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. Delicious. Oh, yeah. So delicious. Keep in mind, I am not advocating that anybody engage in any way with any plants that might make them feel anything other than normal, okay? This is not intended as advice for anybody. I'm just a YouTube guy who doesn't know anything about anything. So don't treat me as a role model and do such things as gardening. I wonder TI bars from assumed intuitions. N of A is the understanding of absence, the understanding of exclusion. Well, I mean, you're thinking deep about it, right? You're trying to find some bridge between intuition and deducibility. But the point of, I mean, yes, there's something intuitive about the idea that things can be deduced, but deduction is not intuition. Okay. So we have to cut this branch off. Let me fix the camera. Okay, well, it just really depends on the statement connectives. That's what it's dependent on. Statement connectives are and, if then, or, if and only if not. So logic is dependent on statement connectives producing a grammatical meaning independent of semantic meaning. That's the best way to put it. All right. So let's put on my glasses. There we go. These aren't the glasses I want, though. There they are, over here. These glasses. These are my favorite glasses. I mean, the point of statement connectives is it doesn't matter what the semantic meaning of the statements are, right? If P, then Q, and P, therefore Q, you can put any statement you want in P and Q. Even a statement like, even when it's false, you know. And the reason is because of the meaning of the word if. It's good to have weed drying again in the tech closet. I like to have kind of a ongoing process here, because you can't do all this work all at one time. It's too much work. You got to break it up. You don't want to be manicuring shit for hours. It's also probably no, it's dependent on the intuitive understanding of conditionality. not of causality. I mean, you might say that conditionality is contingent on causality because it makes conditional a later state upon an earlier possible reality, right? But it doesn't actually make any claims about causality. Like, you can have something conditionally be conditional because of sort of definitions, like, if I wear the brown coat, then I won't wear the red one. That's 100% true, and also not a causal relationship, because not doing something, not wearing a red coat, is not something that can be caused. This is the easier way to do it. The problem is, of course, you get a lot of stuff on your fingers. It messes up the buds more. But in the end, it doesn't much matter. I'll try to get a couple more by the roots. And then I'll get the scissors out for the haircut approach. All right, scissors, come on. Where are you? Here you are. Now we'll haircut it. Well, I mean, it's true that you can't have conditionality or any communication at all without making distinctions, but I don't think that's a particularly informative thing to note. Money, you're totally being like super high level NTP thinking about this right now. You just need to take a chill pill, take it down an intellectual notch here, okay? Take it down an intellectual notch. Right now, we're talking past everybody, and I don't think to good effect.
Hi, handsome.
Hi, gorgeous.
It smells so much like weed in here. It smells good.
Yeah, it's a nice smell. It's the smell of healthy living. It's good to garden. It's good for the soul. I do not sell any of this. This is all for my head. Will I actually see you later, simple girl? You have a great day too. Will I actually smoke all of this weed within the year? Yeah, probably. Probably I will actually smoke it all. We had a shit ton when we moved in here, and it's all gone. All right. You go there. Actually, you know what? You don't need this long of a stem. I'm just gonna clip you here. Just put this little bud right here. And throw this stick away. Now it's better. There. All right. Now we'll just throw this stick away. No, I'm not going to do that with the leaf. I don't like leaf. Ow!
You okay?
Yeah. I made a mess. I'm ashamed of myself and my mess making. Well, I'll have to get a paper towel, I guess. I just use my pants and my jacket. That'll be fine. There. All right. Now it's time for us to manicure this branch. Manicuring. Is it fun? No. But is it a necessary thing to do? Yes, really it is. You don't want to have all these leaves. So we'll cut off the big ones that we can easily cut off. I'll just pull them off. God. As you see, you can just pull them off. Again, I am not intending this to be an endorsement of or do not, this is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a role model. I have no advice for you regarding consumption of this stuff or growing of this stuff. You do you. I'm just doing me. All right, that's all I am doing. I'm just doing me. I just happen to be live streaming it. And this is how I happen to be rolling today. You do you, I'll do me. We'll both get to London before we go pee. That's the old saying. And it's the old saying for a reason. Because it's good advice. Which is not to say that all old sayings are good advice. Some old sayings are bad advice. Like starve a fever, feed a cold. You should eat no matter what. It's never a good idea to not eat any food to get over your cold or fever. So that's bad advice. Other bad advice is like sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. It's horribly wrong and terrible advice. All right. This is looking pretty good, pretty ready for the haircut phase of things. Let's get in there and chop these off. Chop that off. Chippity chop, choppity chip. Meow, 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 meow. Good enough. I wrote a program, but it requires defining some initial stage to start, as it is written in an entirely functional paradigm. I actually need to figure out the human machine code stuff. Oh, well, you're ambitious. All right, let's go put this in the tech closet. Then I think, After I finish manicuring these next couple of branches, maybe even before then, I may take a couple of gabapentins, a couple of Benadryls, with the plan of going back to bed here this morning for another nap. Okay, this one has a small branch, so I could just put it right there. That's good. Perfect. Well done, Eric. Well done. You deserve a high five. I gave myself a high five because I deserved it. And now I'm coming back over here where I've got another branch or two to deal with. Start with this branch here. Yeah. Yeah. Me. Meow. Mia. Meow. Yeah. Me. Meagity. Okay, now it's time for the haircut phase. We'll just meow here, there. We're gonna meow here. We're gonna meow there. We're gonna meow all around. Once again, let me remind everybody, in no way, shape, or form should you interpret this as life advice or something that you should emulate. I am a professional, okay? Do not try this at home. I am carefully trained with years of training. I am just showing this for entertainment purposes only. Neither I nor YouTube approves of anything seen in this video. All right, let's go put you in the closet. What about this one? Yeah, what about this one? Might as well get it too. All right. Good enough. Good enough for government work, as they say. All right, let's go put this in the tech closet to take its time drying, maturing, growing into a beautiful woman. You go right there. You stay there. Okay, you can go there. Now, That's done. Hooray for me. What are you going to get, Eric? I'll tell you what you get. High five. What? What's going on here? In Computer Town. All right. Put this over here. I've got all this finger hash, as you call it. I'm going to try to put some on this bud here. Smoke a bowl. Replete with finger hash. All right. Well, I'm going to pack this bowl and smoke it. Then I'm going to probably take a couple of those gabapentins, a couple Benadryls, and work my way into a nap. May I mention, for those of you who have not heard, the movie The Expendables 3 is terrible. It's just terrible. It does have a very star-studded cast, though. It's got Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's got Harrison Ford. It's got Bruce Willis. It's got Kelsey Grammer. Now, I take the pill form. I typically don't take any kinds of those syrups because a lot of them are suspended in alcohol. So I don't drink alcohol, so, I don't take those syrups. Like, I don't take the drinkable NyQuil. All right. So I'm in the habit at the moment of I'm sure you can you can come up with an example of when it's better not to eat. Let's say you just had stomach surgery. I don't know. I'm sure you could come up with such an example. But I think it's the idea that you should feed a cold and starve a fever is bad advice. It's old-timey advice. It's not a good idea. Like, it's never a good time not to poop. I mean, there's plenty of times when it's a bad idea to poop right then. But it's never better for your body for you to hold your poop in. Now let's pretend that there was some old advice that said, when you've got a cut on your arm, hold in your poop to make sure it heals marm. Okay, well, fine, Rubinar. But do you also think that sometimes it's a good idea to hold in your poop? The point is, I'm just trying to find some example of old advice that's not good advice. That was just an example that serves some minor purpose. So let's pretend then that there's an old saying that says, when you've got a cut on your arm, hold in your poop for plenty of schmarm. I'm just trying to come up with an example of an old saying that's wrong. Okay? If the one I came up with is not wrong enough for you, I'm sorry. Maybe you have a better old saying that's more wrong. It's just serving that purpose. Okay? You and your anti food campaign, you know, I know you're a believer that you can live on just sticks and pebbles, but you can't, Ruben. You can't. It's not enough. And air. Ruben thinks the only food he needs to consume is sticks and pebbles and air. So, how right am I all the time? How correct am I? Let me tell you something that happened recently. You may recall that somebody came in here some time back saying, what's the deal with Apophis? Should we be worried about it? And I Googled it, and everything was saying 0% chance that it hits Earth. No way, impossible, it's going to hit Earth. And I said, hold on a second. This big ass meteor is 20,000 miles, within 20,000 miles of Earth. That's the same basic range of distance in which our satellite Earths are. Was it Jonathan Earl? Was it you who said it? Who mentioned it? And I started looking into it. I'm like, I call bullshit. This is very, very close to Earth compared to most. Like, if you look up meteors passing by Earth, near Earth passing-bys, they're all in the millions of miles away. They're still called like, this meteor is passing very close to Earth in next month, and it'll be like 1.6 million miles away or something. This Apophis is passing 19,000 and some miles away from Earth. Okay. And I said at the time, I'm like, I see nothing indicating that scientists have ruled out the possibility that Earth's gravitational pull might break up the meteor, for example, being that close to it and cause it to land on Earth, or that it might bump into one of our space junk things. And then just yesterday, the day before, I read an article saying scientists raise the percentage chance that it's going to strike Earth due to the possibility that it's going to bump into Earth satellites and crash into Earth. I read this like yesterday, the day before in the news. It's this new thing that they're saying. I called that shit. I called that shit months ago. I totally called that shit. Mm-hmm. Not zero. Not zero anymore. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's only major city destroying size, you know? It's not like extinction level size. As long as it doesn't hit your city, it's fine. you know, I all feel very bad for Beijing or Moscow. Should it happen to hit either of those cities, I'll feel very bad for Tehran. You know, should it happen to hit that city. Yeah, I think it's not that bad of a gamble if you just go, well, it's gonna hit somewhere. The most likely it's not gonna hit me. You know, probably it'll just land in the ocean. Most of the Earth is ocean, so there's a better chance that it lands in the ocean than anywhere else. And fortunately, I live up in the mountain, so the water from the tidal wave won't get me. So, you know, bring it, Apophis. Bring it. Okay? Hit me with your best shot, as they said in that song. Fire away. Apparently, it's as big as an aircraft carrier. That seems like it's a little more than city destroying. It's more like regionally destroying size asteroid. But, you know, probably it won't hit Earth. Probably it won't. Yeah, April 13th, 2029. Friday the 13th. You know when else is Friday the 13th? A little day called tomorrow. That's right. September has a Friday the 13th, and it is tomorrow. You don't want me to taunt Apophis, Rachel? You think I'm bringing bad juju? Well, you know what? I'm not afraid of taunting Apophis. I don't think I have enough juju to influence it one way or the other. I don't think it would be. I don't think it's very plausible that anybody could successfully influence its direction that precisely. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and maybe you're right. As LCD Sound System once famously said. Yeah, suck it, Apophis. I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of you and your asteroid ways, okay? The reason is because everybody on Earth is like, please don't hit me. They aren't taunting you. But you're too non-living an object to be influenced by my taunts. Friday the 13th of September, 2024. How did it get to be the future already? You know? I don't know why we're going to the moon. You know, it's like the sun once said, moon schmoon. That's right. Now I've even extended myself to taunting the moon. You don't impress me, moon. Moon schmoon. That's what I have to say. Get some aloe, moon. Get some aloe for that burn. I just called you out on your shit. Moon schmoon. I think I will get myself a little bit of a breakfast. sweet and sour chicken. This one has both. Got to start on some harvesting. That's good. So, what should I watch after my food's ready before I go back to bed? Unlike the DART experiments, what I'm saying, I feel like we should just not mess with it at all. Just let it do whatever nature is intending. Messing with it could backfire. Yeah, I don't think we should be moving it around right now because I trust the calculations that say it's almost certainly not going to hit us. So I don't think it is going to hit us, but I think it's going to be crazy close. It's like, that's not very far away, 19,000 some miles, and we're going to be able to see it passing by Earth's, passing just outside of Earth's atmosphere with the naked eye. And it's the size of an aircraft carrier. That's kind of crazy, right? Like, to be able to see this fucking asteroid passing through the sky, big as like the International Space Station you could see, probably even bigger because it's the size of an aircraft carrier. It's a lot bigger than the International Space Station. And it's not that much farther away from us than the International Space Station. So it's like, it should be a fairly bright object in the sky, Like Rachel and I one time went outside to watch the International Space Station. I was shocked by how big it was. Looking in the sky, I thought, that's gotta be, what is that? I don't know what that is. Even though we went outside right after she said, oh, the International Space Station is passing by. I was surprised by how big it was. So remember, the International Space Station is not nearly as big as an aircraft carrier. It's not very big at all, really. Let me Google it and see how big it is. How big is the International Space Station? It's about the size of two Boeing jets. It's 357 feet from end to end. 357 feet. How big is an aircraft carrier? An aircraft carrier is 1,092 feet. So this is about 3 times as big as the International Space Station Apophis is. I really am looking forward to looking at it in the sky. But the other thing that I still have not seen addressed by any reports about the matter is the possibility that I see that because it's so close to Earth, that the additional gravity it's subjected to causes it to break into pieces, which then go in various directions. Of course, if it's smaller, then pieces are smaller, then they're less damaging, even if they do hit Earth, and more likely to burn up in the atmosphere. But that would be kind of crazy if it broke into pieces, and then the pieces started coming all down to Earth, And it just made it kind of like a spectacular light show in the sky, and maybe only some small amounts of it actually hit the Earth. You know, that's a possibility, I would imagine, that I've not seen addressed one way or the other. You know, I've not read anybody suggest that might happen, but I've not read anything that says, no, that won't happen for the following reasons. Which is the same situation as we had with the, maybe it might have bumped into a Earth-made satellite or something, or space junk or whatever. Now, nobody had addressed that before either, and it turns out I was right about that. So, yeah, the National Space Station is probably top secret. I'm quite convinced that the U.S. has most likely a secret space program in addition to the public NASA program, and that probably NASA serves as a front for some of the funding for that other space program, and other stuff, other secret cloak and daggery stuff. That's what I suspect. But you know, what do I know? I'm just some random guy. I don't got no top secret clearance or nothing. This is called sweet and sour chicken, G, not mac and cheese. Yes, it's a frozen meal. It's exactly what the doctor ordered right now. It's got sweet chicken, it's got sour chicken. Shut the fuck up, G. I have majestic clearance, says Broccoli Todd. Good for you, Broccoli Todd. Good for you. Mmm. This is delicious. It has all the flavors of the exotic Orient. Talk about majestic clearance. I don't know what majestic clearance is. Does that mean you're cleared for absolutely every piece of information everywhere in the world? Of course, darling. I would love that. It really is. When I imagined the pleasure and joy of chewing something like this reached the full pinnacle of my imaginings. I would like to have majestic clearance. I'd like to be privy to every piece of secret information that every government has in the whole world. No, the exotic Orient, Ruben, not the erotic Orient. You're thinking of Thailand. This is from the honored land of China. Where real Chinese railroad workers cooked it for me. Broccoli Todd says MJ12 are people who run the UFO program. I see. No, I'm not going to do any burpees or sit ups, but I will tell you the other day I ran the 100-yard dash in close to world record time, about 24.4 seconds. Okay, that was my time. That was my first attempt. This is my first heat. Obviously, that's not going to be as fast as the final heat. I just need to shave a paltry 14 or 15 seconds off of my time, and I'll attain the world record for the 100-yard dash. Oh, sure, there are some naysayers out there who say, Eric, you can't break the world record in the 100-yard dash. Well, you know what those people are? Negative Nancy's. I can do it. You know, famous sprinter Usain Bolt's got nothing on me. You know who else has got nothing on me? King Kong. He had nothing on me. So I don't know why he would attempt to blackmail me. Let's talk about Tiger Moms you had to deal with. I mean, you know, they're always coming at you like this. Oh, Mr. Strauss, let me talk to you about what I want. Okay, lady, look, I'm coaching my squad. Get out of my face. Generally, when I worked at Kudos, the boss lady intercepted them, you know. Don't you think that Timothy would be better off if he were paired with the best person on the team instead of his current partner? No, I don't think so. That's why Timothy is paired with somebody else who's the same level, Henry, rather than with that super good kid, because I want the super good kid to be paired with this other super good kid so they both can win, you know? Your kid's not that good. Oh, but Timothy would be so good if he would just have a chance to debate with a better partner. There's always people wanting to have a better partner for their kid. Gee, I don't know when you decided, like, oh, here's a good idea. I'm just going to be rude as fuck. When you decided that was a good idea? I do not know. But I'll tell you, when you did make that decision, you were wrong. It was not a good idea. So. These conversations are extremely unentertaining. Farewell, little bro. Farewell, Mr. Kartoffel. Farewell. So now that know that I'm extremely unentertaining, which is, you know, not exactly wrong. I'm feeling pretty ready for bread, pretty ready for my morning nap. My wife is waiting for me to take a morning nap, at which point she will join me in bed, she's indicated. And I think what I'm going to do is turn the air conditioning back on in preparation for sleeping. I I don't like it that cold when I'm awake, but when I'm sleeping, I prefer it to be nice and cold. I sleep better when it's cold. First, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Where's my ex-wife? I have two of them. They're both in the greater Los Angeles area. I assume. I mean, I have no actual idea where they are right now, but maybe they're on holiday somewhere in the wilds of Africa. You know, I don't know where they are, but if they're where they normally are, then they are in Los Angeles somewhere. Maybe they've become best friends with each other. Why to handle a way to handle those SI needs? Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's important to go to the bathroom because, you know, your body can hold inside of it a certain amount of urine, for example, but it's not good to retain your urine. Some people say that your urine has your life essence in it, and that if you save it and for years and years and do something else to it, you could create the philosopher's stone. But other people know that that's not the case. You know, some people on YouTube and in the world, they like to retain their semen. I used to think it was bad for you, but I learned otherwise when one determined semen retainer made me Google it and actually do a little research. And yeah, he was right, it's not bad for you. Still seems dumb to me, but I was wrong about that. A kidney stone and a philosopher's stone have a lot in common. So, the key thing about a philosopher's stone is that you're supposed to have one before you engage in any philosophizing. I don't have one, and I have already engaged in a lot of philosophizing, so I could get in trouble with the Philosophers Union. I think when it comes to kidneys, what you want is a kidney-shaped pool. You don't want to be eating kidneys. That's gross. You don't want to be needing a new kidney. That's bad. You don't want to be eating kidney beans. They're gross. So that just leaves really one possibility. A kidney-shaped pool. That is fine. It's very mid-century. Cough, cough, cough goes the trolley. Clang, clang, clang goes the bell. I can't really read the chat from here right now. That's why I'm not reading it. I think Ruben might have said something about being an internet person, but I don't have my glasses. And Ruben, I want to reassure you, you're more than just an internet person. You exist off the internet as well. I've met you in person. You're a real live person. Ruben is not a bot, everybody. I know because I met him in person. How did I come to that conclusion? Well, first I met him as an internet person. And then I met him as a real person. That's how I know he's not just an internet person. That's how I know. You know, I had to give Rachel a good stern humping yesterday. But thinking maybe she didn't get the message. And she needs another good stern humping today. That's what I'm thinking. Now I'm washing my hands. Really, it's just because you guys are all watching me. Otherwise, just be like, it's fine. But you judgy judgers are going to judge me if I don't, so. No, she did not learn yet. She's a slow learner, I think. Yes, I've seen the movie Clue. It's actually quite a good movie. We are all bots living in a simulation. That's plausible, but then it still would have to be simulated for something that actually isn't simulated looking at us, you know? At some point, you got to get to something being not simulated. You can't have everything be simulated. Then there's no distinction between simulation and unsimulation. I'm living in an unsimulation. It's a good sentence. I recommend the movie Clue. Maybe Rachel and I will watch it. It was more F. Yeah. She'll only learn through muscle memory. No two ways about it. Oh, it was a joke. Well, that's fine. Jokes are allowed. Winston's mom is G's wife? I don't think so. That's the best of my knowledge. I think I am ready to go to bed. I'm going to wrap this stream up right now. I might... Cartoon I want to watch isn't even out yet. So I guess I'll just go to bed. May I recommend, if you want a horrible movie to watch, may I recommend Expendables 3. The Expendables 3. Terrible, terrible movie. Star-studded movie, star-studded cast, terrible movie. No jokes allowed. Everyone be serious. That's my final message to you for the day. I want you to take it to heart. No jokes allowed. Everybody be serious. Not just here, but in all parts of your life. Okay? I want everyone to be as serious as possible. So I'll talk to you all later, probably later today even. And until then, be serious.